Today we're going to be looking at integrating our Bambu Lab Printer with Home Assistant. Home Assistant is a free application. It runs standalone on many platforms, many devices. Home Assistant today is going to run on my Raspberry Pi 4. And what you're going to see when we're done is this dashboard right here. That's the dashboard that we're going to create by the end of this video. And when you do some additional learning, you can end up with something like this. So, included with this video is this handy companion lab guide. All right, and this is not a substitute for the video, but in this guide are all the instructions to follow along with me in the video, so that you can go all the way from signing into Home Assistant all the way up to having a dashboard like the one that I just showed you. Like I said, I'm using a Raspberry Pi 4. One of the things to note is that the Raspberry Pi Home Assistant does not support Wi-Fi by default natively. Okay, until you install it, you can turn Wi-Fi on, but it's not suggested. So I have an Ethernet cable and a power brick plugged into my Pi, and that's all that I have. So you're going to have to be on an Ethernet network in order to get your Home Assistant to boot up. If you already have Home Assistant installed and you want to just get to the part where I do the prerequisite software installation for these dashboards, you can go ahead and skip that part of the video. It's a long video. It's an hour and 3 minutes. There's a lot in there, and a lot of work went into it. So if you like it, don't forget to subscribe and definitely hit that like button. I'll take all the comments that you can throw at me. The lab guide is, I've gone through it. I used the lab guide during the video. So if you want to take a look at the lab guide to see if it's above your head before you get, before you're invested in the video, go ahead. I'm going to provide the link to those files in the description, and let's have some fun. Buckle up. Wow, this Okay, let's get started. So here I have a brand new clean Windows 10 machine built in VMware. So it's a standalone virtual machine. So everything is clean. I did install, if you look at my companion document, which there'll be a link in the description, you'll find this document that I wrote. This should take you step by step all the way through, along with this video, to provide you with this this dashboard right here. That's as far as we're going to go today. All right. So there are some prerequisites to doing this exercise. Okay, you have to have a GitHub account. You've got to have one. If you don't have a GitHub account, you're not going to be able to install HACS or the Home Assistant Community Store. So you've got to have a GitHub account. It's easy, it's free. Just go ahead and sign up, and you'll be good to go. I'm using a program called Advanced IP Scanner. Here's the link, and I have it open right here. We're going to talk about that in a second. Notepad++. Notepad++ is an editing application. It's going to allow us to pull these YAML files in, YAML files. Don't let it scare you. It's not going to be all kinds of freaky code. It's pretty easy to read, easy to understand. I used to be a code guy, but I'm mostly a hardware guy. But yeah, I didn't have a hard time figuring this out at all, so that's good. And then we're going to be using something called WinSCP. And WinSCP is it uses port 22 and just gives us the ability to transfer files onto Home Assistant with a graphical user interface. rather than trying to forklift them in. And we'll see that. What I'm doing is trying to just make life as easy for you as I possibly can. All right, and also the actual Home Assistant device appliance that I'm using is just a Raspberry Pi 4. I used the Raspberry Pi Imager. I went to the other specific OS section and grabbed Home Assistant. So it's in the Raspberry Pi Imager. I'm using a Raspberry Pi 4. It can be installed on multiple platforms. It can be installed as a container in Docker, standalone, even on an old laptop. You can install it as a standalone application on an old laptop. There's instructions for that. There's links actually in this document for Home Assistant. When the Raspberry Pi is attached, it has to be on an Ethernet network, an Ethernet cable. It by default has Wi-Fi disabled. All right, so the only way to see this on the network is to be on an Ethernet cable. If you don't have a network set up at home, that's okay. You can just take an RJ45 cable. My Raspberry Pi right now has two cables. One of them is an Ethernet cable, and one is a power cable, and that is it. There is nothing else attached. It is, in fact, a true appliance. So if you're at home and you don't have a wired network, you can always take this little device, and it's in a power brick, a short Ethernet cable, go to your modem and plug it into an empty port in the back, and you'll probably be fine. It'll just DHCP an address, and you'll be good to go. Speaking of DHCP addresses, so by default on the network, Home Assistant is going to broadcast a host name, and it's going to actually examine the network a little bit, and it's going to provide you with a name and an IP address. All right, so it's going to go out to your router, it's going to grab an IP address, it'll have a name. In this case, I opened up Advanced IP Scanner. I ran a scan on my network, which happens to be a 10.0.0.1 network here in my office, and it found Home Assistant 9. And the way that it will typically work is it'll be called Home Assistant, all lowercase, and if it's the first one on your network, it'll just be Home Assistant. If there's multiples on there, like I have, it'll typically attach a number to the end. So a 6, a 9, 10, 11, anything. It's arbitrary. And so with Advanced IP Scanner, we'll be able to find the device. And in my case, I'm on an Ethernet cable, and so it shows the manufacturer of the Ethernet adapter as Raspberry Pi. It shows my IP address as 10.0.0.198. So now we know he's alive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open another browser, and I'm going to go to 10.0.0.198:8123, and that's the port that is used by Home Assistant, 8123. And there we go. So and that was, I didn't do anything. So what you're seeing right now, I did nothing else. I just gave it power and Ethernet, and that was it. And I got this. All right. So here we are. Let's move along in the instructions here. Okay. HA supports Ethernet only. Okay, for initial setup. Wi-Fi is not recommended, and the reason I say that is because once it's installed and running, you can in fact turn on Wi-Fi. But if you're going to be using cameras and things like I do, probably not a good idea. That's a lot of bandwidth for video streaming, etc. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is, now that we're here, we're going to go ahead and create an account, and I'm going to call it HA Video. And it's going to create a username of HA Video. You can make it anything that you want, and the password is going to be HA Video. Make sure I didn't type that wrong. HA Video. Confirm the password, HA Video, and we'll create that account. Fine, whatever. Yeah, I don't never. Fine. All right, so when he first comes up, the first time he comes up, he's going to want to know what your location is, where you live. And the reason for that is they have built-in weather forecasts and stuff like that. So, but you don't have to do it. You can leave it as Amsterdam, which I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And I'm going to pick the country, which is United States. Just type a U and United States. Next. I turn everything on. This is an absolutely free application. It's so well supported. The Home Assistant community is incredible. I can't say enough good things about it, so I turn everything on. Why not? Go ahead and click next. And he'll actually, when he comes up and he sees any other devices on your network that he has built-in connectors for, he will show them immediately. It sees my Apple TV, it sees some of my LEDs, Octoprint, etc. Okay, so these are the things he sees on my network, and that's okay. All right, so this is the overview. Okay, and the overview is just going to show the default stuff that he found. Yours is probably going to look an awful lot different than mine does. Okay, so this is just the overview. So now what we need to do, since we're in Home Assistant now, and we're in the overview section, we're going to do, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to our user, and we're going to turn on advanced mode. All right. Advanced mode gives us the ability to change some settings that would not otherwise be available to us. I'm going to go back to settings, and we're going to spend a lot of time here in settings. And then what we need to do is we need to install the SSH add-on. So the reason that we need to do this is a couple reasons. One, because it's nice to have a SSH terminal built into Home Assistant that I can get to from the sidebar, as well as being able to turn on access from the outside. For instance, I need to be able to use WinSCP to move those folders and files around, so I need to turn on port 22 and give him a password. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to install SSH. So we're going to go to Settings, Add-ons, and I'm just going to click on the add-on store, and I'm going to search for SSH. And this is the one we want right here. This is the this is a community add-on. This is an official add-on. We're going to use that one, and the reason for that is I know where all the configuration is. I can turn on any port that I want. So we're going to go ahead and click on install. It'll want to take a second. I'll probably edit this part out. There we go. All right, so now SSH is installed. But we want to do a couple things, all right? First and foremost, when I click this, when I hit this the slide bar, it's going to put SSH in the sidebar. Boom, and there it is. It's called terminal, all right? We want to turn on Watchdog, and what Watchdog does is if it unexpectedly terminates while it's running, it'll restart itself. And I definitely want to turn on auto update, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is go to configuration. This is probably the most important part of this installation. Is we need to give it an authorization password. In our case, it's HA video. Admin password. And I need to okay, he's good, come on. And we're eventually going to turn on port 22. So we need to get there, we'll go there. All right, so we have SSH, and now if I go to terminal in the sidebar, I'm going to start the add-on. I will retry. There he goes. Okay, so it took a second to start up. So now we actually have a built-in SSH terminal in Home Assistant. So what we're going to do is we're going to add something to install HACS, the Home Assistant Community Store. And the Home Assistant Community Store is a very valuable thing because there are so many additional integrations out there on top of the official Home Assistant add-ons. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and browse to, I'm going to open this link in a new tab, go to HACS, and right here it has the command that we need to enter into this SSH window, and it will install HACS for us. After we install HACS, it'll need to restart Home Assistant. So I'm going to copy that. Very important in this window, you cannot do a Control V. I'll show you why. If I do a Control V, it'll be putting the ASCII in there. So what I'm going to be doing is right-click, and paste. And now we have the command in that window. I'm going to go ahead and mash the Enter key. Off he goes. Remember to restart Home Assistant before you configure it. All right, so I'm going to go to Settings. I'm going to go to the three dots, Menu, Restart Home Assistant, Restart Home Assistant, Restart. I hope all these little bangs and noises on my desk aren't making you guys all crazy. What you'll see down here in the lower left-hand corner is a Home Assistant. I'll let you know what the condition is. And Home Assistant has started, so we're in good shape. The first time you install a Home Assistant, you'll get a lot of notifications down here telling you that it found more stuff on the network. Okay, I'm just going to dismiss that for now. All right, so I'm going to go back to add-ons. I'm going to go to the SSH, and I'm going to go to configuration. And now, nope, we're not ready yet. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to my document, and now HACS is installed. But we need to do one more thing. We need to clear our browser cache. And the way we do that is we go to the browser. You can do anything, just click anywhere and do a Control F5. And that will completely clear the cache. And HA video, log in. Fine. Great. All right. So now what we need to do is we need to go into Settings, Devices and Services, and now we'll have HACS available to us. So these are the things that these are what's configured, okay, already, and these are what is discovered and require configuring, but we'll get to all that. So we're going to add an integration, and we're going to install HACS. There's HACS. And it's going to tell you that, you know, if you do this, you better know how to, if you're going to report a problem, you better know how to, you know, get the logs, and it's untested and all that. Okay, so I'm going to click yes, yes, yes. Do not, under any circumstances, check the box for enable experimental features. That causes a lot of problems. And one of the reasons is because it kind of messes up the user interfaces and some things. It changes them into things that are unfamiliar. So hit submit. Now, here's where your GitHub membership is going to be required. So I have this little 8-digit code, and I'm going to Control C to put that into my clipboard. And I'm going to log into GitHub. All right, so I'm going to pause this while I log into GitHub. Okay, I am now logged into GitHub, and that particular URL is for device activation. So I'm going to click continue, and then I'm going to Control V to put that code in, and some information is going to pop up. I'll be pausing it so that you can't see that again. All right, I'll be blocking this out. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to authorize HACS, and now I'm all set like this. I'm all set. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close that tab, and it's success. Create configuration. So there's HACS. Don't worry about the area. Click finish, and we are good to go. So now what you'll see over here is HACS. What you don't see is an icon, and that is because another restart is required. Settings, restart Home Assistant. Again, in the lower left hand corner, it will give you information: connection lost, reconnecting. It's pretty quick when you don't have much running, and right now we don't have much running. All right, and Home Assistant has started. I still don't see HACS over there. HACS. Okay, good. All right. It'll eventually pop up, I guess. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to install the Bambu Lab connector, and this is where all the magic is going to happen for us. And we really need to say thanks to Greg Hesp. This connector this plugin is really quite amazing. It uses the MQTT interface. It's a message queuing protocol, and in combination, we're going to be actually using our Bambu Cloud account. At least I am, my Bambu Cloud account. For things so I can grab the built-in camera images, things like that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to install the Bambu Lab connector. So in my browser, I am going to navigate to Greg Hesp's page. All right. Now, what you'll see is, because HACS is installed and running, I am going to open HACS through this link, and it's going to provide me with an interface that's going to allow me to use this in the future as well. That's going to define the IP address and port of my Home Assistant instance and install. So here we go. So I am going to change homeassistant.local to 10.0.0.198:8123. You have to have the HTTP : / on the front, or it won't work. Just letting you know. All right. Open the page in your Home Assistant. Yes. Yes. Add this custom repository. And now we have, did you see HACS pop up there? Okay, great. So, click download. And I may not need to do this. Actually, I don't believe I do. Okay, so there is Bambu Lab. Let's go ahead and close this tab and that tab. But again, really show Greg some love. All right, so it says pending restart. So once again, go into settings, restart Home Assistant, restart Home Assistant, restart. So remember, folks, I'm taking you from the very beginning all the way to being able to connect to your Bambu Lab printer and having a interface that allows you to monitor, control, all kinds of stuff. There are a lot of things it can do that we will save for another day. I'll show you some examples of what I do when we're done. Okay, so we're back up. So now all we need to do is go to Devices and Services, and what you'll see is there are and configured, Bambu is not in there. So I'm going to add an integration. And because we have the repository has been copied into the file system of our Home Assistant, it should show up as Bambu. And it does. Okay, Bambu. And it'll actually find my printers all by itself. It'll see them on the network and report back to me. So I'm going to use my Bambu Cloud configuration. And I am in North America. And I'm going to pause while I log in. Actually, I'll blot this out because as soon as I hit next, it's going to see my printers. Boom. There we go. I have two Bambu Lab printers. I have a P1P and a P1S. My P1P is named Bob, and my P1S is named Larry. Actually, I have 7 printers, and I'm going to name them all. Anyway, we're going to go with Bob. He's the P1P, and that's also what I wrote my document against. It was my P1P. It's just a little bit easier. So we're going to go ahead and click Next. And we need to find out what the local printer IP address is. So you're going to have to go to the display on your printer and look for your IP address. My local IP address is 10.0.0.48, and he will immediately connect. Boom! There he is. So he sees that I have a printer, that I have an AMS, and they will all have an external spool. And the reason that the external spool indication is even there is because if it detects filament at the print head that hasn't been delivered by the AMS, it must be coming from an external spool. That's it. Okay, finish. All right, so now in our Bambu Lab connector, there are 3 devices. So I'm going to open up these 3 devices and you'll see them. There's my printer, there's my AMS, there's my external spool. But right now what I'm most concerned with is my printer. And this is what you get by default. And this is what makes what Greg did so amazing. So here is the default dashboard for my printer as it comes from the plugin from the start. If you look at the GitHub page, it'll show you all of the sensors entities that are available through the plugin, and there's quite a few of them. Okay, it's just a beautiful job. So what we're going to do is we're going to need some of this information later on. Unfortunately, can't really get it from here. Well, actually we could. Let's do this. Now I am going to have you create a new dashboard. Okay, we're going to add this new dashboard from scratch, and we're going to call it Bambu Temp. We'll pick an icon, something, anything. There we go. An alarm light. Great. Okay. That's good. That's good. And we want it to show in the sidebar, which it will. So we will create that. Okay. All right. So we're going to go back to where we were. There we go. And what you'll see is in every section, there is an add to dashboard link. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this information and we're going to drop it into the new dashboard. Okay. Technically, this is not very editable. So I'm going to take the one at the top and I'm going to add it to the dashboard called Bambu Temp. Next, add a dashboard. Then we're going to go ahead and grab all the sensors, and there's plenty. Okay. For instance, you can see my camera as it sits right now. I use WLED to indicate the state of my printers, and right now it says that the print is finished. That's why it's green. Okay, and we can see the last thing that I printed. I printed these rings. I'm printing the model of a SpaceX Crew Dragon. Just all kinds of things. Anything that you want to know. It's called Super Draco. All the information about your printer. Okay, so we're going to go to sensors. We're going to grab it and add it to the dashboard called Bambu Temp. Next, Add a dashboard. Our configuration. And in our configuration, this actually does and will allow you to do commands to your printer. Notice that they're not enabled, but they are there. Okay, so we're going to add those to the dashboard, and we're going to call that Bambu Temp. Add a dashboard. And we're going to add the last diagnostic. Bambu Temp. Next. Add a dashboard. Okay, so now what you're going to see is in Bambu Temp, when I go to Bambu Temp, here are all the things that we just added. Okay, this is all the stuff that we just added, but we need to know some things. All right. So for instance, if these are all entities. These in particular are sensors. And I just need very simple pieces of information. What I need is, for our exercise, is I need our printer name and our AMS name. And that's very easy to get. So this guy right here, we're going to go to, I don't know what, OGS fan speed, fine. And I could copy it from here. Control C, and I'm going to open up Notepad. Simple. Actually, you know what? Since we have it, what's really nice about Notepad++ is that it's persistent. No matter what I put in here, it doesn't go away. Okay. And I happen to know that the next one's going to be Control V. It's going to be underscore AMS1. I know that's what, I'm sorry, AMS underscore 1. That's what it always calls it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and so I'm going to show you. I'll close it and then I'll open it again. And it is persistent. Alright, good. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. Now we're going to get into the meat of things. We have the Bambu Lab connector installed. We have our new dashboard for gathering information. But now we have some requirements that we have to add to HACS. And all of these things need to be added. It's prerequisite. Won't work without it. Okay, so I'm going to show you that it's really not that tough to do. These are all going to be done through add-ons. Font Awesome is a little bit different, but you'll see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Settings. I'm going to go to Add-ons. I'm going to go to the Add-on Store, and this guy is called Card Mod. Control C, Control V. Wrong place. Integrate a front end. Explore download repositories. Card Mod. There he is. Lovelace Card Mod. Lovelace, they do some amazing work too. Okay, so I'm going to add that. There's Card Mod. Download. I'm not going to reload. Not until we're done. Alright, and then I'm going to go back to HACS, front end, explore. The next one we need is Lovelace Card Layout. Control C, Control V, Layout Card. Okay. Download. Cancel. Just so you know, for each one of these, and you'll be able to access it at any time, it'll tell you what all of these add-ons do. Okay, and these are basically for the cards that we use in dashboards. Okay, let's go back to HACS. Front end. HUI element. Control C. Explore downloads and Control V. Lovelace. HUI. Download. Don't reload. Okay. Next one is button card. Control C. HACS, front end. Explore. Control V. You want this one. Download. Download. Don't reload. Go to the next one. Mushroom, very popular add-on. Control C. See if I can just go back here. Nope. Front end. Yep. Explore. Control V. Mushroom. Download. Download. Nope. Okay, we're gonna go explore. I gotta grab this. Mushroom. Config template card. Control C. Control V. Lovelace. Download. Download. I know this is taking a long time, but it will be worth your time. I promise. I promise. Alright, let's go back. Alright, explore and download. Let's grab custom UI. We'll do Font Awesome in a second. Control C. Control V. Custom UI. Download. Download. This time we're going to reload. And then I'll take all the other ones that we just installed and should put us back and show all of these are now not red. So that's a good thing. Okay. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to install Font Awesome. Alright. And that's a HACS integration, not front end. So we're going to go to integrations. Alright. And that's going to be Font Awesome. Control C. We need to do more than one thing, and I'll show you what that is. Integration. And Control V. Font Awesome. Download. Download. And if this takes a long time, I'll pause and cut it out. I'm going to take a look and see if it's there. One of the things that we can do here is if I do an ls in the home directory, I can see config. So I'll cd config ls, and we should have custom components, cd cu tab, custom components, ls. Let's see if Font Awesome is there. Hey, Font Awesome is there. All right, good enough for me. Go back to HACS, integrations, and front end. Okay, repositories. Let's go here. Devices and services, add an integration. Font Awesome. There we go. Font Awesome icon, success. Finish. So I just had to wait. Alright, so Font Awesome is installed. That is everything that we need to do as far as these prerequisite add-ons. Next we're going to do WinSCP in order to move those files. Before we do that, when SCP uses port 22. Okay, so now we have one. I didn't finish. We have one integration which requires a restart. So we're going to go to settings, restart Home Assistant, restart, and I'll take all these out when I edit the video. And after we get done with this last piece, probably be a good time to take a break. We're up to 40 minutes in this video so far. It will be worth the wait. Okay, Home Assistant has started, and we need to enable port 22 so that we can use WinSCP to provide us with a graphical user interface to the file structure of Home Assistant. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to Add-ons, Terminal and SSH. We're going to go to Configuration, and down at Network is going to say Show Disabled Ports. Well, one of the things that we want to do is we want to add port 22. So port 22, and we're going to save it. Restart terminal and SSH. Yep, restart. All right. Okay, so now we have everything installed as far as our HACS requirements go, and now we're going to go ahead and start working on the magic WolfWithSword. I'm going to open this in a new tab, and this is the site we're going to be working with, and really this guy really deserves anything you can give him. So this is kind of a, this is more than he is really giving you. This is some stuff that he put together, but we're gonna do what I showed you in my document. Okay, so my document shows this. You're gonna have this when we're done. If you want to do additional stuff later, you're more than welcome to, but for now we're just going to do this. Alright, so these pictures right here, these graphics, we have to download these. So I'm going to download this media zip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that directory, and I am going to extract all. And what you'll see are two directories. See a www directory, and that's where media is going to go, and in media are all of those pictures that you just saw. Okay, so for my P1P, I'm going to have a P1P with the lights off and a P1P with the lights on that'll be used, but we're going to install them all. Alright, so here we go. So what we need to do is we're going to use our WinSCP now. So the program WinSCP is going to let us use a graphical user interface to manage the files out on Home Assistant. So I'm going to go 10.0.0.198. Username is root. And of course, HA video. And we're going to go ahead and log in. Alright, so now we're on. We have root privileges here, so don't mess too much. Alright, so we're going to go to the Home Assistant directory. And in there, we're going to see the www directory. And now there's just a few things in there, but what we're going to do is we're going to take that media folder and we're going to drop it into www. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this guy and drag him in. And there we go. So now we have Bambu Printer. We have media, Bambu Printer. So when we look at our file paths, it's actually going to be local, local, media, Bambu Printer, and then the PNGs. We'll talk about the other custom icons here in a little bit. All right, so that's good. We're there. We're almost there. If you want to take a break, come back, I understand. But we're just about there. All right, so I'm going to kill that. I don't need that anymore. I don't need any of this anymore. I'm going to go ahead and close that. All right. So the way that this works is, is that what's really happened is if I were to go to Bambu Temp, and I were to put this into edit mode, this page actually has a whole bunch of YAML code that defines every entity and element of this dashboard. Each one of these is a card. This is a card. This is a card. But all together, they look like this. All right. And it's just YAML code. It's really not that tough to work with. A little bit of practice, you'll be fine. However, we can go down to card level, and this is what we're going to kind of be working with. Right? So I can either use this visual editor. Unfortunately, we won't be able to use that in the very beginning. But the code editor for this entire card is right here. This is all the code that's used. Right? So what's interesting is if I had, say I had two Bambu printers, I had two P1Ps, and at the very beginning when I put the connector in, it found both of those printers. But each of them would have a unique ID. Okay? A unique ID. So all I would really have to do is take all of this code, Control C, open up Notepad, create a new document, put all that in there, and then just do a replace. And then just do a replace all with the other printer ID, and it would have everything that you need. In other words, you can just duplicate this card, just change out those IDs, and the code will work. And that is what we're going to look at. So, on the WolfWithSword site, he is going to allow us to generate some code, some pre-built code. All right. So, here we go. All right. Here are some of the things that we can do. But in my instructions, it will tell you, where are my instructions? That what we're really going to be doing is, we're going to be taking all that code and we're going to be dropping it in as if it were manual code. Create a new card, scrolling to the bottom and choosing manual, and we're just going to paste the code right into the code editor, and it's going to create everything that we need. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go here and we're going to put in the information that I told you we were going to need. Okay, so we need the printer device name. The printer device name is this name right here, P1P01 blah 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 blah. Okay, and I dropped him in the Notepad. Let's take him so that we can just keep track. And that's this guy right here. Boom. Control C. I'm going to go over here, drop him in, paste. The printer model is a P1P. We are not using Node-RED. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to talk about it. We're using HACS. And I'm going to generate this code. So I generate the code, and it's a YAML file. A YAML file. So I'm going to go into Explorer. I'm going to grab this YAML file, and I'm going to open it with Notepad++. And I'm going to grab all this code, Control C, and I'm going to go over here to Settings, Dashboards, add a dashboard, new dashboard from scratch, and we'll call it P1P Final. Whatever, can call it anything we want. I don't care. We'll give it an icon. Fine, good enough for me. All right, we're going to create it. And now I'm going to open this dashboard. And in my instructions, it'll tell you that we need to go into edit mode. And that we need to change this from masonry type to sections. And it says it's experimental, but trust me, it's sections. So sections. And we're going to save it. So now we have these sections that work left to right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this unnamed section. I'm going to click the plus sign. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom to add a new card. And I'm going to click on manual. And what manual means is that I am going to add my own code from scratch, starting from the beginning. So since there's no type, it won't work. It'll be grayed out over here. So I'm just going to double click that so that it copies over. Control V. It's not an object. Oh. I was playing there, wasn't I? Okay, so in Notepad, I'm going to grab this, Control A, Control C, Control V, and look at that. There's my printer. Pretty cool, right? And right now my printer light is on the inside, and now it's off, and now it's on. You just have to trust me on this. Anyway, it'll also tell you at the bottom here that the visual editor is not supported in this configuration. There's some things that you can do. You can mess around in the code that will make that happen. However, for the purposes of this particular example, we're not going to worry about that. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. But there are some things that are missing here. Things that are missing. So the code, all it is an indentation problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at my instructions. And what we're going to see is, well, first of all, we're missing the progress meter over here. Okay. And one more thing. What else are we missing? We're missing the progress meter, and we're missing the picture of my latest print. Okay, so let's go down here and let's grab this code. We're going to grab it right out of my document so that we know that my document works. Now what's really important here is that you need to copy this all the way from the left. Don't try and grab that type conditional before that hyphen. You got to grab it all as it is, just like this. And now we're going to put this card into edit mode. See that edit sign? All right. And we're going to find, where was that? So we're going to find, cover image. And if we look down here, we'll see cover image, type conditional. So I'm going to go over here. Cover image. Type conditional cover image. And we're going to go all the way down to here. And you're going to go Shift Tab twice. Boom, boom. Just like that. Okay. So now you have the progress meter, and you also have the preview image that the printer, that the interface would normally show on the Handy app or whatever. Okay, so now that's working. But there's this little red box over here that we need to get rid of. All right, so I'm going to click Save anyway, just so that we don't lose any of those changes. Then we're going to come back over here. We're going to grab some additional code. Now this is going to need to be changed. Okay, so we need to remove this entire section. Okay, this entire section. So let's grab this, move him over, I usually work in two monitors, so please forgive me. All right, so the place that we're going to be working is where it says type conditional. It's going to be towards the bottom here. Okay, here it is, right here. Okay, so where it says running pause. So we're going to go to all the way from here. Grab this. Go down to where it says null. And hit delete. Delete again. And now that red shadow is gone. It's for some other piece of code that was in there. I'm not really sure what it was for, but be that as it may. So now we have a completely functional and the base printer portion. If you don't have an AMS, you don't have to continue on with me. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Yep, there it is. That's it. And all these conditions are right. And you can do little things like I can go to this temperature and I can go to the settings and I can change that from Fahrenheit to Celsius and I can update it. And now it's Celsius. Okay? Little things like that. It tells me what the state of my printer is. Like I said, I can turn the light on and off from here. I can see it out of the corner of my eye. This is the last thing that I printed. It's at 100% completion, and it's finished. Anyway, thank you all so much. If this has helped you, please, please, please subscribe, hit like, leave comments. I want to hear everything that everyone says. I really appreciate your time. Okay, I decided I'm going to go ahead and add the AMS in this example. I may cut it later and turn it into two, but for right now we're just going to continue to move on. So we're going to add the AMS to the front end that we just built for our P1P final. Okay, so I decided that we're going to add the AMS to our current. Okay, so I decided that we're going to add the AMS so that we can make it to like we have our P1P final dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go to. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pull down the configurator for the AMS. I'm going to use this one. And we're going to pull down the configurator for the AMS. Version. I'm going to use this one right here. Right. So the printer device name is already in here. We need the AMS device name. All right. So what the printer device name is already in here. We need the AMS device name. Devices and services. What we're going to do is we're going to look at our Bambu integration settings. There are 3 devices and services, and there's our AMS. We're going to look at our Bambu integration. Remember, I told you that's what it was going to be. There are 3 devices. So I'm going to grab AMS. I'm going to grab. Remember, I told you that's what it was going to be. Let's see. So I'm going to grab. Oops, sorry. I'm going to grab. Sure. So I'm going to go here. Grab P1P. Is our printer AMS1. So I'm going to go here, grab our P1P, and that was our printer AMS1 by the plugin when we installed it. So I'm going to grab that, our AMS, and that was detected. And the model is AMS when we installed it. So I'm going to grab that. Not AMS Lite. That would be for an A1. And the model is the HACS integration. Okay. We're going to do AMS Lite. That would be for an A1 version B. We're using the HACS integration. We're going to generate that YAML code. We're going to do B. We're going to take that YAML code and we're going to generate that YAML code. Notepad++. We're going to take that YAML code and we're going to open that up. We're going to grab all this code. Notepad++, Control C. I'll minimize that. We're going to grab all this code and we'll drag it into Control C. Our P1P final. And we'll drag it in. I'm going to go ahead and put this into edit mode. P1P. I'll just put it over here. I'm going to show you that there's a little bit of a problem. I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop into edit mode. That as it may, we're going to go down. I'll just put it over here. I'm going to show you that there's a little bit of a problem. And we'll drag and drop that code. That as it may, we're going to go down to. And now we have our AMS. And we're going to add that code. Humidity sensor is not working. And now we have. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay. but the humidity sensor. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save my document here, and then what I'm going to do is that the humidity sensor, we need to remove this code. What I tell you here is, and we need to add the humidity sensor. We need to remove this code. So what I need to do is go to type custom. And we need to add this code. So let's go in. So what I need to do is go to type custom config show code editor. So let's go in and edit this. Go to show code editor. And humidity sensor. Where's that humidity sensor? Humidity sensor. Okay. So here is our type custom config template card. Okay. So here is our type custom config template card. Let's go ahead and grab. Let's go ahead and grab all the way down to MDC icon size. So I'm going to go over here, humidity sensor type, go all the way to the left. Make sure you grab that entire thing all the way down to icon size. We're going to delete that. And now you can see that the humidity sensor is gone altogether. We'll use my instructions and we'll add this code all the way down. Keep going. Okay, what I decided I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the YAML code to enable the humidity sensor. So here it is. I'll give you a YAML file that'll be included with the document. And you can just plug that right in there. So now we have our humidity sensor, and we have all of the colors of all of the filaments that are currently in my printer, and they're correct. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. All right. So one of the things that's tough to do is to drag. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this, and I'll move that guy to the left. So now we have both of our entities. One of the things I want to do is go over here, and I want to change this to dark mode. That way you can see the temperature indicator. I have it set so that the number is actually in black on a white screen and white on a black screen. So there you go. So this looks a little bit more like what we were working with. So now let's go ahead, and we're just going to go ahead and add the camera. That is really easy to do. So we're going to click on the plus sign. We're going to go down to a picture, grab the picture, and we're going to grab the image entity. And the image entity is going to be the installed camera on the printer. There you go. And this is actually a live shot of the printer that I'm using right now. These are the colors. This is the color that's currently being used. It's black. It's a multicolor print. And we're good to go. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and do the external spool, which is really easy to do. The external spool, everything is already here. We're going to go ahead and generate that code. Open up the folder. Open that with Notepad. Grab all that, Control C. Go all the way to the bottom, manual. Control V. And there's our external spool. Right now it's not being used. It's always going to be there no matter what. It will be defined when the connector is installed. So there you go. That is the entire process for installing everything. It should be step by step. Follow the guide. I will include the YAML file for the humidity sensor on the AMS. Just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm doing with this, we'll go to and here is my change this to dark mode. And here is mine. So here's my P1P. That's the one we're looking at right now, and that is the choices that I made from the WolfWithSword. This is a combination of a whole bunch of code that I've pulled down. Very interesting that we have all the controllers. I do have LED lights. So one of the things I can do, let's take a look. So if I go to nozzle cam, let's go to bed cam, see if I can change the colors there. All right, so I'll come down here, WLED, and I'll change it to orange, let's say. And we can see that now my chamber is orange. Here's what I'm printing. They're just caps for the Z rods in my printer. But these are some of the things you can do. I have multiple cameras. Can't live without the nozzle cameras. I think I'm going to do a video on nozzle cameras. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I know it's a long video. It's going to be well worth your time. Have a wonderful day.